I'm a nutritionist and this is what I eat in a day. I don't count calories, yet I still lift, I still enjoy my life, and I still do everything I want to do, but I'm not super pedantic on calories, and this is how to do it right. I start off with breakfast. No matter what people say, it is a non-negotiable. Even if you have a tiny bit of food, your body needs a fuel, especially after its so-called hibernation when you sleep. And so I try to get in a good mixture of carbs, fats, proteins. I went with mixed grain bread. I like Abbott's Village Bakery, then some avocado, scrambled egg, and some fruits to balance it off. So I had some guavas and strawberries, whatever's really in season. Then moving on to lunch. Lunch should typically be your biggest meal of the day, as opposed to a very Western diet where the dinner is usually the biggest meal of the day. And I get it, sometimes with work and obligations, lunch may not be possible to have as a big meal, but try to whenever you can. I just kept this very simple, just some olive oil, a few basic spices like chili powder, salt, oregano, coriander, garlic. Just give it a good mix. And then what I like to do is create a little bit of a paste, which I can then, coat the chicken in when I fry it. So this is just some blended onion and garlic and tomato. You can pop it in the freezer in little cubes if you don't use it all at once. And I don't know if you've been on the internet, but there's been a lot of controversy or conversation rather on red meats and cancer. And so there is some validity to it. However, everything in moderation, as I always say. So I like to try eating more white meat when I can. So chicken, great example of that. Turkey is another one. And then for this, it's really important to balance your plate. So this is an optimal way. Try to have around, say, 40 to 50% carbs, then have around 30% chicken, and then the remainder in fats. So this is nice and balanced. Got some veggies in there for your fiber, got some healthy fats, and then also got the protein in there from the chicken. Now for snack time, this is very dangerous, as this is where a lot of people, myself included, have fallen into the trap where you go, feeling something a little sweet, a little bit not too healthy. So I think this is a perfect balance. It still is healthy, but it tricks your brain to thinking it's like not healthy. So this is just some high protein yogurt mixed with unsweetened cocoa powder. And then I put a little bit of a chocolate shell on top. And then I like to put some coconut on, as it adds flavor and also good fats. And this you can also meal prep. So this is very simple. And you can really top it off with whatever you like. I went with bananas and strawberries. This is essentially my take on a frozen yogurt bowl, but make it healthy. So it has that same base of yogurt, except this is lower in sugar and fats. And I've also topped it off with some fruits here. You can add in nuts and seeds. So I also popped in some chia seeds, as they add a little crunch. I personally am not a fan of like chia seed pudding due to texture, so this is a great way of getting it in. Then lastly, but definitely not the least, we have dinner. So I essentially used the same marinade that I used for the chicken, except I've also added in some rosemary here, as it's a great accompaniment for lamb. And I think it's very important to try to make cooking as versatile as possible, because I know there's some 10-20 step recipes out there which make these amazing delicious meals, but like, let's be real, when you're working a full-time job, maybe there's kids, family, dogs and cats in the mix, it's just not practical. So I like to cook with as minimal preparation, minimal ingredients as possible, and so reusing marinades, keeping it very simple, makes all the difference. Now, you can use whatever type of pan you like, but I think cast iron's great for cooking certain things, especially like lamb, as it helps, add the flavor. Maybe it's placebo, maybe it's not, but cast iron is typically healthier than non-stick, which, by the way, I also use because, come on, it's just easier and I like to live a simple life. So I just try to mix it up. And then I've also made a very simple yogurt sauce. This is some high protein Greek yogurt. Just some dill, salt, garlic, some chili. I clearly love my chili, so I love to put it in everywhere. And yeah, you can make it just very simply. It is very important to note though, when you're looking at things like yogurt or dairy in particular, it is so important. Cannot stress the importance of making sure you don't leave it overnight, like leave it for too long in the fridge, because there have been so many instances where people put like, I don't know, feta, maybe cheese, yogurt, stuff, whatever, in dressings, and then they keep it overnight or for days. I'm guilty of this as well, and then next minute it's smelling foul. So when you use dairy, try to use it as soon as possible and not leave it for days and days, because you can do that like they do in the shops, but that has a lot of preservatives, which I personally try to avoid. I also want to note that I do eat other foods in a day, like fruits and nuts. If I'm hungry, I do not try to starve myself. The only time I do try to really be careful about calories is if I know I'm going to have a massive meal, say like massive pasta with some tiramisu, then I will try to balance out my calories throughout the day, but otherwise I do not count them. And this is just a little bonus extra immunity tea that I like to drink at night. Just makes me feel more calm, and it also helps boost your immunity. So that's all for today. That's what I eat in a typical day. Let me know if you like this video, what you want to see next, any comments, concerns, more than happy to answer them. And wishing you all happy digestive systems until the next one.